Thank you for watching the Animal One Guy's YouTube channel. If you like this video, please leave a like and leave me a comment. And if you like a lot of my content, please subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to get notified every time I post a new video. Thanks, guys. Hey, everyone! We got a new rescue in the house. It is a Quince monitor, also known as a yellow monitor. And this isn't really as much of a rescue, I guess, guys, as it is a surrender. Just previous owner had him, said he was too skittish, wasn't eating, and just wanted to give him away. So I said, sure, absolutely. You know, I specialize in lizards, particularly monitor lizards. So why not? You can send him to me, and I'll take care of him. There he goes in his hole. And I thought this would be a good time to maybe talk about the Quince monitor, which, guys, is one of the best pet monitors, because he digs down there. It's one of the best pet monitors that you can get. Unfortunately, just like Savannah monitors, there's a lot of bad and old information on these guys, which makes this really easy to take care of monitor not do well as a pet, which is really unfortunate. But why don't I break down its habitat, how to take care of it, and then we'll look at the Quince a little bit, and we'll do this pretty quick. Habitat is pretty simple. As a baby, guys, I like to start them in a 3x2x2 enclosure. Exoterra is great, but anything with a climbable backing of some type of styrofoam is great, because these guys love to climb. And the reason why I say you start them in a glass enclosure is typically they have a screen top, which, as you see here, I have the pink insulation board, and then I've used metal ducting tape to duct around that to really keep the humidity in. We'll talk about that in a second, but by using this, when you have a screen top like that, as a baby, these Quinces are super arboreal. So he climbs up on this, he gets upside down, he hangs, he climbs on the metal, and then he climbs the logs. I have a log over on the cool side and a log on the hot side, basking side. So that's your arboreal setup. Now, they do lose some of this arborealness as they get larger, like most monitors, because they get big, they get heavy, and they don't do the climbing upside down, but they will still climb on a slanted surface. You'll eventually need to scale your Quince up to a minimum size tank of 6x3x3 if it's a female, and a male can really get along in that as well. If you go a little bit longer, 6x4x4 or 8x4x4, great enclosure, because you can get good climbing and really make use of those enclosures. Here's where it all gets messed up, everyone. This is where the Quince gets messed up. Temperature and humidity. They're kind of like a Savannah for temperature, but not for humidity. Now, you have your like normal little meter up there, and my doors are open, so you're going to see different temperatures and everything like that. And unfortunately, this one, the temperature doesn't even work. It just moves. But the humidistat is actually pretty accurate, which is fine. That's what I'm using it for. You know, I'm a rescue, okay? I know this thing's broken, but I need it for that thing. So that's all I care about. So what do they need temperature-wise? So like a normal monitor, you know, they like 85, 90, hot side, you know, mid 70s, high 70s, cool side. And then, so that's your typical monitor. But then they need basking. And here we are like the Savannah monitor. So for my heat source and UVB, I have a 160 watt mercury vapor bulb right there. This ceramic heat emitter is possibly to be used for nighttime heat, hooked up to a thermostat. If it drops below 73 degrees, this turns on. So it only lets it get as cool to 73. It never gets that cool, though, because you do want them to have a temperature gradient and cool down at night. It's very important they cool down at night. So the basking spot is probably the most misunderstood, just like Savannah's. Everywhere you read online, it will say 130, 140. You know, so I take my little wand here, and I have my basking spot, and in certain spots it hits 130, right where it's supposed to be, right? This is why I have an elevated basking. And then we have a lower basking platform, still directly under the heat, and it gets to about 110. It's a little lower now because I just sprayed it down with water and because we have to keep it humid. So we got 130 and we got 110. Where do you think he basks at? That's right, 110. Even though everywhere online says do 130. He'll come up here for like a second. He'll start to get too hot, and then he'll leave. He'll lay down here all day and love it when he's not climbing around like a complete psycho. But you give them the options. But this falls into the same trap as the savannas of everyone will say, heat the basking spot up to 130. But he won't lay in the spot that's 130. He'll lay on the outside, which is 110. Well, why not have the whole basking spot be 110? That way he can lay anywhere he wants on here. Rather just, if this was 130 and this was 110, now he's limited to be out here. This whole thing is 110. He can lay anywhere on that, which is important. Humidity. This is also sometimes misunderstood and why people don't get a Quince monitor because they think it's going to be too hard. So the humidity now is reading 50%. That's because I have both of these doors, wide open. Humidity is leaving, airflow is traveling. When they're closed, this humidity normally reads about 65, 70%, which is where you want to be. And I'll get into why. Places will say 70 to 90%, and that's true, but that's not the you're not getting that from an air humidity type gauge, okay? So I have an Eco Earth mixed with a coconut thicker chunked substrate. And this is really important to have these chunky substrates here because their ability to hold the humidity. You see how wet they look? In fact, if I was to give these a squeeze, see how that water dripping out of there? That's great. That's what you want. You want to have a damp substrate that is going to hold that water, and with heat is just going to release it into the air. So let's show you the outside. If you really get in here, you're actually going to see there's a small little layer of water, almost like a little bit of a swampiness down there. And I like to have that swamp in that deep, deep substrate. Yeah, almost like a quarter of an inch of water, not even. Because Quince monitors, as babies, not as much as adults, very rare as adults, as babies, they really love to burrow. So when you need a 70% or 90% humidity, when your Quince monitor, that's near impossible to have a 90% humidity tank that isn't fogged up, that you don't have condensation. You want to see. When your Quince monitor is getting dry over here, he can lay on here, or he's going to burrow himself. So, of course, when he burrows himself under this, see all that? He's going to be in 90% humidity. He's going to be great. Super simple way to keep the humidity. Mix Eco Earth with the larger coconut chunk or anything that holds moisture like that, and you're good. And then you want a water bowl. So obviously he can go inside the water bowl, and just being pure water will hold humidity. At night, the Quince monitor is, you can say, oh, there's no hide in here. Yep, no hide for a Quince monitor. Because he's just going to burrow. He already burrowed himself behind the water bowl. The first night, I couldn't see him at all, and I was gently moving the substrate. He was burrowed down here, like an inch deep. So, you give them relatively to their size. I don't know how much substrate this is. Maybe 4 inches for a baby, which is really good. So you start them in a tank like this. When they get to about 1.5, start getting close to 2 feet of length, that's when you're going to move them up into the forever type home. You'll move them. They're going to start getting heavy. They're not going to want to go upside down. They'll still want to climb on some surfaces. So, you get them a bigger piece of wood. You get maybe a bigger back. They do get some big nails, so they would tear the styrofoam up really good. But they make some more industrial PVC, universal rock type backings that can take those big monitor claws, or you make it yourself. Screw some pieces of wood in, things like that. But that's how you take care of the Quince monitor, which is really good. You feed them, what do they eat, which is the last part, the diet. They're going to eat, like the savanna, bugs, but they'll actually be able to eat meat. They are a carnivore. They'll eat anything. So you can feed them your meat. You don't have to worry about fatty liver disease just from eating meat. You do still have to be careful not to overfeed your monitor, but that's just a normal thing with all pets. So there's our setup. You get to see the temp. You get to see the humidity, how it's done, and you get to see how simple this loving monitor, this super trainable monitor. If you haven't, you can go watch my video real quick on the Reptile Emporium, and they have 2 free roaming Quince monitors in their in their store, along with along with rhino iguanas, and along with tortoises that free roam. No one gets in a fight. These are a very tameable monitor. They're a great pet. I look forward to showing you guys how they grow. Thank you, Patreon, and thank you, subscribers, and thank you guys for liking my videos. You've been helping me grow my channel. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Thank you guys for supporting my reptile rescue family.